It's the middle of the night. You're asleep, and your yard is wide awake. Picture it right now. Out past your kitchen window in the dark, there's a robin tucked into the hedge. The same one you watch every evening. The one with the slightly crooked tail feather. The one that always lands on the third fence post. Right now its eyes are closed. Its feathers are puffed. Its heartbeat has slowed. But the yard around it has not gone quiet. Not even close. Something moves between the trees. Something calls from the dark. Something is passing overhead in numbers you would not believe. At exactly 3:47 a.m. on a Tuesday, something happened in your yard that you slept through, and once you know what it was, you will never look at that window the same way again. Subscribe to Backyard Bird Whisper before you leave, because what you are about to learn has changed the way thousands of people see the yard outside their window. Here is what most people believe. The yard goes to sleep when you do. The feeder empties at dusk. The songs stop. The birds settle in for the night, the same way you settle into bed. A quiet, dark, empty yard until morning. You have probably assumed this your whole life. Science tells a different story entirely. The hours between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. are not the dead of night in your yard. They are the busiest shift of all. There is a hunter awake out there. There is a voice that is disappearing. And there is a river of life flowing directly over your roof, silent, invisible, and almost unimaginably large. You slept through all of it. After tonight, you will want to stay awake. Let me give you a number that sounds made up. It is not. On a single big night in spring, 450 to 500 million birds are in flight over the United States at the same time, not over a season, in one night. That comes from the Cornell Lab of Ornithology and a radar project called Birdcast. They use weather radar, the same radar that tracks rain, to count birds moving in the dark. In plain English, scientists point storm radar at the empty night sky, and the sky is not empty. It is full of birds. And it gets bigger. On the night of September 25, 2025, Birdcast tracked 1.2 billion birds crossing the country in a single night. A record. Andrew Farnsworth, a longtime researcher on the project, said the scale of it is almost impossible to picture. Most of these birds fly between dusk and dawn. Many of them fly 2,000 and 3,000 feet up. Some climb to 15,000 feet, far above your house, far above the clouds. They are not random. They are mothers, fathers, young birds making their first journey. And a large share of them pass over your county on their way. You can check your own county on the Birdcast dashboard tomorrow. Type in where you live. See how many flew over your roof last night while you were asleep. 12 feet from your window, the robin sleeps. 2,000 feet above it, the sky is a highway. So who exactly is awake out there between 2 and 4 in the morning? Let me take you through them one by one. Start with the birds you know, your chickadee, your cardinal. If the bird you love is a chickadee, here is exactly what is happening right now. That tiny body is fighting the cold the only way it can. On freezing nights, a chickadee drops its own body temperature on purpose, going into a kind of controlled, shivering near sleep to save the fuel it needs to survive until dawn. It is alive by the narrowest margin. A chickadee can burn most of its body fat in a single cold night. The seeds you put out yesterday may be the only reason it opens its eyes this morning. Your cardinal is roosting too, deep in a dense shrub, feathers fluffed, hidden from the things that hunt in the dark. Holding still, waiting for first light, because one of the things that hunts in the dark is very, very good at its job. That brings us to the owl. If there is an owl near your yard, and there are far more than you think, then 3 a.m. is its peak. While your songbirds hide, the owl works. Its feathers are built for silence. The leading edge of each wing feather is fringed like a tiny comb, breaking up the rush of air so it makes almost no sound. An owl can fly straight at its prey, and the prey never hears it coming. And it does not need to see. An owl's ears sit at slightly different heights on its head, one higher than the other. That tiny difference lets it pinpoint a mouse in total darkness by sound alone, down to the exact spot under the snow. In the dead of a winter night, when you hear a great horned owl hooting, that bird is not lost. It is courting. It is one of the first birds of the entire year to begin a family. And it may be closer than you think. A small screech owl can live its whole life inside a single suburban block, roosting by day in a hole in a tree you walk past every morning, hunting your yard by night. You have almost certainly shared your address with an owl and never known. It saw you, you never saw it. Now the saddest voice in the dark, the whippoorwill. There was a time when summer nights across this country were filled with it. A whippoorwill calls its own name, over and over, hundreds of times without stopping, all night long. If you are over 50, you may remember falling asleep to it as a child. You probably haven't heard one in years. There is a reason. The eastern whippoorwill has declined by 69% since 1970. 2 out of every 3 are simply gone. They vanished quietly in the dark where no one was watching. Their food, the night insects, and disappeared, and the open woods they need disappeared with it. A sound that defined American summers is fading out, night by night, and almost no one noticed. And then there is the river overhead, the migrants, the 450 million. If it is spring or fall, the birds streaming above your house are not sleeping at all. They are flying, for hours, sometimes all night. Warblers smaller than your palm, crossing whole states in a single dark. How did they find their way with no map, no landmarks in the black? They read the sky. In a famous experiment, a scientist named Stephen Emlen raised indigo buntings inside a planetarium and watched which way they tried to fly under the artificial stars. The answer was clear. They steer by the night sky, learning the wheel of the stars as they grow up, fixing on the one point that never moves, the North Star. Here is the part that stops scientists cold. Studies of white-crowned sparrows found that during migration, these birds sleep about 2/3 less than normal and show no loss of sharpness at all. Awake, alert, navigating by the stars, for weeks. A feat no human could survive. What flips that switch? A hormone called melatonin, the same one that makes you sleepy at night. In a migrating bird, the nighttime level of that hormone drops, and the bird's whole body is told, not tonight. Tonight, you fly. So while you turned over in your sleep, a bird the weight of a few coins was crossing a state line above your house, steering by the stars, wide awake, doing the impossible, quietly, in the dark, over your roof. Now come back down to your yard, to your robin, still tucked in the hedge, still waiting. And then, in the last hour before sunrise, it happens. Long before you stir, long before your alarm, the robin opens its eyes, and it sings. First, before the cardinal, before the chickadee, before the sun. This is not random either. The robin has unusually large eyes for its size, and large eyes gather the faintest light. Scientists at the University of Bristol found that the birds with the biggest eyes start singing earliest, because they can see a dawn the rest of the world can't yet feel. Your robin is, quite literally, built to greet the day before anyone else. It is singing into darkness, trusting the light it cannot yet see. And it sings now for a reason beyond the light. In the cool, still air before sunrise, sound carries farther than at any other hour, so its song reaches the whole neighborhood. I made it through. This is still my yard. So think about what that means. Through the cold, through the owl, through the silent river overhead. That small, wild animal held on all night in your yard and chose your yard to wake up in. It did not have to. It owes you nothing. A wild creature with the entire sky to choose from decided your hedge, your fence post, your morning was worth coming back to. You passed. They chose you. Not the woods down the road, not the park. You. That is not nothing. That is actually quite extraordinary. So here is what you can do, starting tonight, to protect the night shift in your own yard. 1. Turn off your outdoor lights between midnight and dawn during spring and fall. Not dim them. Off. Those 450 million migrants navigate by the stars, and bright lights pull them off course and into windows. The lights you turn off tonight give the migrants a clear path, and give the whippoorwill one more dark summer to call from. You will never see the birds you save them anyway. 2. Leave one corner of your yard a little wild, a brush pile, an unmowed edge, leaf litter you don't rake. That untidy corner is where night insects live, and night insects are the exact food the whippoorwill and the young migrants are starving for. A perfect lawn is a desert after dark. A messy corner is a feast. Letting it grow is how you feed the birds you'll never hear. 3. Fill your feeder the night before, not the morning after. Last thing before you go to bed. Your chickadee burns through the night on the edge of survival, and it needs fuel the instant the sky turns grey, before you are even awake. A full feeder at first light is the difference between a bird that made it and one that didn't. Fill it at night, and you are feeding them in the dark before they ever have to ask. None of these take money. None of them take much time. They are small kindnesses, done while you sleep, for animals that will never know it was you. And that may be the purest kind of caring there is. So tomorrow morning, when you carry your coffee to the window, look for the robin with the crooked tail feather on the 3rd fence post, and know what it just did. It survived a night you slept through. It outlasted the cold and the owl and the dark. It heard the river of birds passing over your roof, and it chose out of the whole wide world to wake up and sing in your yard. Subscribe to Backyard Bird Whisper, because the most extraordinary wildlife on Earth is not in a jungle or a nature documentary. It is 12 feet from your kitchen window. Because there is one more secret out there. Some of those birds flying over your house tonight will return next spring to the exact same yard, the same tree. Across thousands of miles, in the dark, they find their way back to you. How a creature that small remembers one yard on an entire continent is the strangest story in your backyard. That is where we go next. Tell me in the comments, have you ever heard a whippoorwill calling at night, and do you still hear one where you live? I read every single one. These are the stories I carry longest. I will see you there.